akhir disebabkan oleh COVID-19. Datuk Seri Mustafa adalah tidak asing kepada kita semua. Beliau mempunyai banyak pengalaman sebagai pegawai PTD juga. Selain dari menjadi anggota Parlimen dan menteri di beberapa kementerian antara tahun 1995 hingga tahun 2022. It's a long period. Beliau adalah ahli dan penyokong kuat alumni PTD. Bagi menjayakan forum ini, kita juga bertuah dan ingin mengucapkan banyak terima kasih kerana mendapat kerjasama 3 orang ahli panel yang tersohor. Pertama ialah yang berbahagia Datuk Rozi bin Haji bin Mak Saad, Ketua Pengarah Mampu. Beliau akan membentangkan kerdas bertajuk Policies and Strategies on Capitalizing the Latest Technologies for Efficient and Effective Service Delivery. Ahli panel kedua adalah yang berbahagia Tan Sri Yong Po Kon, Pengerusi Royal Selangor Pewter International Berhad. Beliau akan membicarakan tentang new values and competency requirements for efficient and effective service delivery. Pembentang ketiga adalah Yang Amat Mulia Tengku Datuk Seri Zainal Abidin Ibni Tengku Mukhris, Pengerusi ADIS, Board of Directors. Yang Amat Mulia Tengku akan membentangkan kertas yang bertajuk The Public Service Delivery System Fulfilling People's Needs and Expectations. Untuk makluman para hadirin sekalian, forum ini adalah forum yang ketiga dan terakhir dalam siri 3 forum yang telah dirancang oleh alumni PTD sebagai sebahagian program yang telah diatur bagi meraihkan ulang tahun ke-100 PTD. Forum ini forum yang pertama, forum 1, bertajuk 100 Years of PTD, Looking Back, Going Forward. Telah diadakan pada 14 Jun 2022. Manakala forum yang kedua bertajuk Sustainable Nation Building Through Public, Private and Community Synergy and Partnership, Role of the Public Service, telah diadakan pada 28 Februari tahun ini. Forum 3 ini diaturkan secara usaha-sama alumni PTD dengan Persatuan Perkhidmatan Diplomatik atau PPTD dan Institut Tadbiran Awam Negara, INTAN. Kami amat menghargai kerjasama, bantuan dan sokongan kedua-dua pihak ini dalam urusan merancang dan mengendalikan forum 3 ini. Ucapan terima kasih yang istimewa juga ditujukan kepada INTAN yang telah menyediakan kemudahan-kemudahan serta Dewan untuk mengadakan forum ini. Yang berhormat dan para hadirin sekalian, our Executive Committee chose the theme and topic for this forum, taking into account feedbacks and suggestions from members of the PTD alumni. We understand and appreciate the efforts the government is undertaking through various initiatives to enable the economy to recover in the shortest possible period and in the most effective way. We also recognize the critical role that the public service has to play in this venture. The public service, as the backbone of the government, must be strong, efficient and effective while practicing good governance in delivering all the basic essential services that the government need to provide to the people at the federal, state and district levels to enable the country to thrive, the business sector to grow and the rakyat to live a better, safer and happier and healthier lives. The concern for efficiency and effectiveness of service delivery has been a topic of interest from the 1970s. The numerous circulars issued by the government, especially the Development Administration circulars issued since the 1970s, were aimed at improving the efficiency and effectiveness of the services offered to the public. They focus on improving the government machinery through programs like quality management, punch clock, quality control circles, ISO 9000, and many others, with the objective of improving the efficiency and effectiveness of the services offered. As a result of this program, the quality of public service we enjoy today is far superior to what we had in the past. For example, passports can now be renewed within a few hours. Obtaining services at counters is no longer a hassle when compared to the past, where people had to spend a whole day to complete their business. A lot of transactions can now be done at one-stop centers or online without having to go physically to several offices to obtain certain services. However, times and needs are changing. Development around us, especially in the field of technology, and the ever-increasing expectations of the Rakyat, business sector, and foreign investors make it essential to ensure that public services are not only provided adequately, but at a level of performance, speed, and quality that would qualify it as efficient and effective, and meets the standards of good governance. This would involve, among others, assessing the technological advancement that can improve service delivery, the human factor that would determine the success or failure of service delivery, and ultimately, whether the services delivered actually fulfill the people's needs and expectations in the context of Malaysia Madani. I look forward to an interesting session in this forum, where the sharing and deliberation of ideas and suggestions may bring forth some good and solid measures and solutions that we can recommend for consideration by the government. I believe that all of us would like to see a public service that is responsive to the needs of the customers, is efficient and effective, and conduct itself with integrity in delivering the services required by them. We also wish to see a public service that has the respect and is held in high esteem by all that it serves. Yang berhormat dan para hadirin sekalian, saya ingin mengambil kesempatan ini sekali lagi untuk mengucapkan berbanyak terima kasih kepada Yang berhormat Ahmad Fahmi bin Muhammad Fadzil, Yang bahagia Datuk Seri Mustafa Muhammad, ketiga-tiga ahli panel Forum 3 ini, serta semua ahli alumni PPTD dan semua peserta yang bersedia melapangkan waktu untuk hadir pada hari ini. Semoga forum ini berjalan dengan lancar dan memberi manfaat kepada semua. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri, for that very warm welcome. To start off this very important forum, I would now call to the stage Yang Berhormat Fahmi Fadzil, Minister of Communications and Digital, to kickstart with his keynote address. Yang Berhormat, the stage is yours.
Terima kasih, Saudari Pengacara Majlis. Bahagia Tan Sri Abdul Halim Ali, Presiden Alumni PTD. Yang bahagia Datuk Dr. Muhammad Zabri Yusof, Pengarah INTAN. Yang bahagia Datuk Rozi bin Mat Saad, Ketua Pengarah Mampu, yang selepas ini akan menguruskan My Digital ID. Bagi tahu semua, tak ada tanam chip, ya, tak ada tanam chip, tak ada rakam apa-apa. I'll weigh in on that after this. Yang bahagia Tan Sri Yong Pokon, Pengerusi Royal Selangor International sedang berhad, Yang Mulia Tunku Zainal Abidin, Ibni Tuanku Mukhriz, Pengerusi Lembaga Pengarah Ideas, alumni PPTD, serta semua peserta dari sektor awam, agensi korporat, ahli-ahli akademik dan pertubuhan masyarakat, tuan-tuan, puan-puan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. 我们朋友大家好 saudara-saudari lei, vanakkam. Nama berita Kopi Vosian, Sawadikap. Salam perpaduan, salam Malaysia Madani. Terlebih dahulu, saya ingin rakamkan penghargaan kepada Yang Bahagia Tan Sri Abdul Halim Ali dan Jawatankuasa Kerja Persatuan Alumni Pegawai Tadbiran Diplomatik ataupun Alumni PTD kerana sudi mengundang saya ke majlis pagi ini. Undangan ini sebenarnya mukadimahnya ialah amaran dan arahan dari mak saya. Dia kata amaran, arahan diikuti dengan amaran. Dia call saya semalam, Fahmi, you're coming tomorrow kan? Datang mak, datang. Saya suka untuk ceritakan serba sedikit baru-baru ni salah seorang daripada SUB dalam kementerian maklumkan kepada saya, YB, dulu saya pernah berkhidmat bawah Mak YB. Oh ya ke? Saya PRO dia dulu. Oh ya ke? Ya, saya masuk masa tu saya mengandung. Oh, Mak YB cakap apa? Mak YB nak tahu Mak YB cakap apa? Kenapalah dia orang hantar orang mengandung kat saya? So now I know what kind of officer my mom was. Okay. Baik. Tapi di situlah saya lihat ya, kepelbagaian citra dan kepelbagaian rentak dan irama di kalangan para pejabat awam, terutama di kalangan PTD, yang bagi saya menimbulkan satu rasa hormat. Kerana bagi saya PTD adalah tulang belakang, adalah backbone, adalah the vanguard kepada apa yang diusahakan oleh pihak kerajaan. Saya juga tahu lebih kurang susu galur perjalanan PTD oleh kerana kedua-dua mak dan ayah saya dulu pernah berkhidmat, mak saya dalam PTD, ayah saya dalam Felda. Dan of course we always refer to the kiranya the gold standard is the Malayan Civil Service, ya, MCS. Dan bagaimana pada waktu dan ketika ayah saya berkhidmat dalam Felda dari tahun 1969 1970 sehingga tahun 2004, he was just in that one organisation. Bersama dengan the longest serving chairman of Felda, Tan Sri Raja Alias, they managed to pay up and pay off all of Felda's debt, 6 billion ringgit of debt from the development bank, from the federal government, 10 years ahead. Patutnya langsai tahun 2000-2001, tapi selesai dibayar tahun 1990-1991. Dan disebabkan disiplin yang ditunjukkan pada waktu itu membolehkan Felda pada ketika itu mempunyai rizab simpanan cash sebanyak 6 bilion ringgit pada waktu itu. Ya, jadi sama ada saya melihat ibu saya, ayah saya membesar dan dibesarkan dalam suasana PTD. Dan saya juga faham ya, how lonely it is to grow up in a family of PTD officers, yeah, because they're never there, because they're constantly working. Yeah, only now my mom says, "Fahmi, why don't you come and visit me?" Oh, itu balik kan, yeah. But I want to open and preface the session untuk mengingatkan bahawa di samping PTD berbakti berkhidmat kepada negara, tapi the very human and normal act of having to raise a family is something which is not only quotidian, everyday, tapi necessary. Saya adalah boleh kita anggap hasil ya daripada keluarga PTD. Cuma dalam setahun ini ini kali pertama saya jejak kaki ke INTAN. Jadi mungkin lepas ni saya kena datang lagi lah ya. Tuan-tuan dan puan, sejajar dengan perubahan landscape ekonomi global yang semakin bergantung kepada teknologi, sangat penting untuk kita perbaharui dan tingkatkan penyampaian perkhidmatan kepada rakyat. Memasuki era ekonomi digital, kita berdepan dengan peluang yang sangat besar untuk menjadikan perkhidmatan kerajaan lebih mudah diakses, pantas dan inovatif. Seperti yang tuan-tuan dan puan sedia maklum, era ekonomi digital membawa bersama pelbagai transformasi yang mencabar dan memerlukan kita untuk sentiasa menyesuaikan diri. Transformasi dalam sistem penyampaian perkhidmatan kerajaan adalah satu langkah proaktif untuk memastikan kita tidak hanya bersedia menghadapi perubahan ini, tapi juga menjadi peneraju dalam penggunaan teknologi untuk manfaat rakyat. Transformasi ini bukan sekadar pengenalan teknologi, tapi juga melibatkan perubahan dalam budaya organisasi dan cara kita berinteraksi dengan rakyat. Realitinya, segala perubahan dan pembaharuan yang hendak dibuat akan menjadi sukar sekiranya kita membiarkan birokrasi berlebihan terus menjadi cabaran utama dalam menjalankan tugas dan memberi perkhidmatan kepada rakyat. Proses yang rumit, prosedur yang berbelit dan kelewatan dalam membuat keputusan seringkali menghalang kecekapan dan keberkesanan perkhidmatan awam. Oleh itu, adalah penting kita fokus dan bertindak mengurangkan apa yang pernah ditegur oleh Duli Yang Maha Mulia Seri Paduka Baginda Yang di-Pertuan Agong dan juga Raja-Raja Melayu sebagai kerenah birokrasi. Kerajaan amat menggalakkan penggunaan teknologi maklumat untuk menggerakkan secara automatik proses-proses yang boleh dijalankan secara elektronik. Dengan menggunakan sistem yang canggih, kita boleh kurangkan kerja manual, atasi pertindihan, percepat proses membuat keputusan. Hal ini tidak hanya akan meningkatkan kecekapan, tapi juga membolehkan kaki tangan kerajaan memberi tumpuan kepada tugasan-tugasan yang perlu kebijaksanaan dan penilaian manusia. Komunikasi antara agensi kerajaan juga perlu diperkukuh. Kejelasan dalam aliran maklumat dan kerjasama antara agensi boleh mengurangkan kelewatan dalam proses penyampaian perkhidmatan. Inisiatif untuk mengintegrasikan sistem maklumat antara agensi kerajaan perlu dipercepat. Datuk Rozi, ni kita kena usahakan ni. Ni teguran daripada Perdana Menteri. Memastikan data dapat berkongsi dengan mudah dan selamat. Saya nak cerita serba sedikit. Pengalaman saya lebih kurang 12 hari bersama Perdana Menteri di OIC dan APEC untuk nyatakan lebih kurang etos bekerja Perdana Menteri kita. Dia sama dan berbeza daripada Dr. Mahathir tapi dari segi the pace of work is very fast. Yang terbaru, yang terkini, sistem My Digital ID. Seperti yang kita semua mungkin sedia maklum, cadangan Digital ID ni bukan cadangan yang baru. Ia telah ada dalam perbincangan sejak tahun 2016. It's been around since 2016, the discussion about Digital ID. It was first announced publicly during the time of YB Gobind Singh in 2018. And subsequently, from the Ministry of Communications, it was shifted to the Ministry of Home Affairs. Daripada Kementerian Komunikasi dipindahkan ke Kementerian Dalam Negeri. Dan Menteri Dalam Negeri pada ketika itu, Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin, juga pada tahun 2021 ada memaklumkan tentang hasrat kerajaan untuk melaksana Digital ID. Tiba beberapa bulan yang lalu, dengan kerajaan perpaduan yang ada pada hari ini, Perdana Menteri bertanya kepada Menteri Dalam Negeri, Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution, berapa lama untuk kita laksanakan sistem Digital ID ini? Dan jawapannya pada asalnya ialah 2027. Tapi kerangka asal berdasarkan perbincangan awal adalah untuk rakam cap jari, to capture your biometric data, your iris, not unlike the Aadhaar system in India. Ya. Tapi Perdana Menteri kata 2027 is too long. Can we not find a way, a simpler, much better, efficient way? Because all of our data is already anyway held by JPN, Jabatan Pendaftaran. And so, it fell upon MIMOS under MOSTI to come up with the very efficient, simple system. Although a lot of people are complaining about the logo design, so this is something which I will have to look into. Not my jurisdiction, logo design, tapi I will communicate with the Minister of MOSTI, Bincang Lekang. But the Prime Minister decided that, 2027 is too long. When you compare, in Singapore, they have SingPass, in UAE, they have UAE Pass. Various other countries have already put together a digital ID, but we don't need to have that kind of security risk by collecting a second time. Jadi dia kata, okay, MIMOS, do it. Then when MIMOS presented, how long of a time do you need? Datuk Sri, maybe we need until 2025. Okay, you have until the first quarter of 2024. And so I met up with the MIMOS team about 2 weeks ago, and then they said, yeah, we want to get PM to come and daftar. Okay, we want to do it 2 weeks from now. No, understanding how PM thinks. No, Cabinet is meeting last Friday, you do it then. So I told them to do it and they did it. So this is the kind of change that we're trying to do. Yeah. A lot of people, including KJ John, constantly complain about the pace of reforms, about the pace of change. Penting saya tegaskan di sini. Perdana Menteri beberapa kali secara terbuka dan juga dalam mesyuarat kami ada menegaskan we cannot rush. We cannot rush. We have to learn some of the things that have happened before, some of the pitfalls. Sometimes, in order for us to bring positive, lasting change, we have to slowly persuade and convince. And that's why I'm here before all of you to also persuade and convince. Ya, penting saya nak tegaskan, kita tidak mahukan satu anjakan yang total, yang terlalu besar dan drastik. Itu bukan hasrat Perdana Menteri. Tapi sebenarnya adalah lebih bersifat incremental. Tahun pertama ni adalah tahun untuk memastikan asas politik itu kukuh dan stabil. Alhamdulillah, dengan ada asas yang kukuh dan stabil ini, this is possibly, arguably, one of the most stable governments in recent times, in the last maybe 4 or 5 years. Yeah. So insyaAllah, in the second year, we will continue and focus on several key things. Kita di sidang parlimen yang baru selesai, baru-baru ini ada pembentangan kertas putih mengenai dasar gaji progresif, a progressive wage policy. This has been tabled, it's a white paper, and we expect that in this coming year, in 2024, in some way or form or fashion, the private sector can be encouraged to participate in order for us to help workers see an incremental increase in their wages. As for government servants, PTD officers, Perdana Menteri telah umumkan bahawa kita dalam proses untuk buat sedikit review. Dia akan makan masa sehingga tahun depan, insya-Allah. Jadi expect good news in 2024 for those of you who are still serving. Those of you yang dah pencen, I'm not only looking at my mom, Tan Sri, ramai ya. Saya juga difahamkan kita ada beberapa keputusan yang telah dibuat dalam Jemaah Menteri, tapi bukan hak saya untuk mengumumkan. Mungkin nanti Tan Sri boleh bincang dengan Tan Sri KSN. Ada some of the decisions that have been made and then subsequently can be announced. Tapi it's not my place to say it, walaupun saya juru cakap kabinet, tapi saya serahkan kepada Tan Sri KSN nanti untuk umumkan, terutama bagi yang telah bersara. Tuan-tuan dan puan, berbalik kepada isu public service delivery, penting saya sebut di sini, kita sekarang berada dalam satu era di mana komunikasi bersifat omnidirectional. Communications is omnidirectional, which means that everywhere you go, you can expect to be recorded, to be heard, and sometimes the littlest of things, can be misunderstood. And it is imperative for the civil service that we do acknowledge the risks that this kind of new era of information technology presents, but also the opportunities. Some of the ministers have embarked upon some interesting use of technology, including, for example, Kementerian Kerja Raya, the Public Works Department and the Ministry, by introducing the My Jalan app. My Jalan. Dan My Jalan ini merupakan satu aplikasi untuk memudahkan rakyat membuat aduan tentang, of all things, jalan berlubang. Kenapa? Sebab sebelum ini memang kalau nak kita semua sedia maklum, saya rasa ramai, mungkin ada di sini yang tinggal di Bangsa. Can I see a show of hands? Those of you who stay in Bangsa, ada tak? Ataupun dah lalu, yes, and then dah lalu Jalan Makruf. Kalau kita tahu, okey, baik. Jalan Makruf. If you're coming from the McDonald's side, the Telawi side, heading towards Bangsa Shopping Centre, between Jalan Bangkung and Jalan Tualang, there's a patch of road on Jalan Makruf that constantly is damaged. We repair it. Within 6 months, it gets damaged again. So instead of repeating pave the road and then rosak balik, pave the road, rosak balik, apps like My Jalan will be able to start recording, something's wrong here. We are constantly getting problems in this stretch, in this part, which then can save the rakyat money when you do further investigation to understand that perhaps it is something subterranean, something underneath. And actually, I suspect it is something to do with the IWK pipes dekat Jalan Makruf sebagai contoh. Tapi bila saya gunakan contoh My Jalan ini, ia adalah untuk menunjukkan bahawa kerajaan pada hari ini berhasrat untuk menggunakan data yang ada dalam konsep data raya, big data, untuk kita memanfaatkan sepenuhnya to stretch the rakyat ringgit, the taxpayers' money, so that we don't repeat what has happened before. It will take time because compiling all of this data and effectively using it will be a challenge, which is why for under this ministry as well as some of the other ministries, there are 3 key bills that we will bring forward, we will bring to Parliament. The first, in the first quarter of this year, this coming year, will be an amendment to the Personal Data Protection Act, pindaan kepada Akta Perlindungan Data Pribadi. Ini adalah untuk pastikan bahawa data kita sentiasa selamat, data pribadi kita dijaga terutama oleh pihak swasta. Kedua, an Omnibus Data Protection Act. Kerana dalam Akta 709, Akta Perlindungan Data Pribadi, ada satu section 3 yang menyatakan bahawa akta ini tidak terpakai kepada kerajaan, persekutuan dan negeri. So data that is held by state governments, the federal government is not included in the Personal Data Protection Act. Maka kita perlukan an Omnibus Data Protection Act. The third will be under NACSA, will be the Cybersecurity Act. So this will also put in place an equivalent of MCMC but for cybersecurity. Jadi dengan adanya beberapa perkara ini, insya-Allah ekonomi digital akan lebih laju berkembang, dan di pihak kerajaan dan juga swasta kita akan dapat manfaatkan ya, pelbagai aplikasi dengan lebih selamat, insya-Allah. Ladies and gentlemen, embracing digitalization is at the forefront of transforming public service delivery. Implementing robust online platforms, user-friendly websites, and mobile applications can significantly enhance accessibility and efficiency. By offering services online, like what I mentioned just now, we reduce the need for physical presence, providing citizens with the convenience of accessing government services from the comfort of their homes, their cars, or wherever they might be. This integration of data systems across various government agencies is essential. A seamless flow of information between departments ensures a holistic understanding of citizen needs and reduces redundancy in data collection. This integration not only improves decision-making processes, but also prevents citizens from having to repeatedly provide the same information to different entities. And as a SIG, I mentioned just now, my digital ID. One of the key reasons why the Prime Minister said that we need to have this system. The electronic Know Your Customer system, or EKYC, is something which costs government agencies millions of ringgit every time they want to put together an app. Cuba bayangkan, setiap kali kita nak buat satu app, ya, pendaftaran itu berbeza-beza mengikut kementerian, mengikut jabatan, mengikut agensi, dan kita tak tahu sama ada bila kita serahkan IC kita, gambar kita, ke mana perginya data ini. Maka selain daripada apa yang saya sebut tadi dengan My Digital ID, dia tidak ada tanam chip, tak ada rakam apa-apa. Dia sebenarnya adalah untuk, satu, menjimatkan mungkin berpuluh juta ringgit di pihak kerajaan untuk pembinaan ataupun pembangunan aplikasi-aplikasi baru. Kedua, memastikan data kita dapat disimpan dengan lebih selamat. Ini penting. Ya. Jadi nanti setelah MIMO selesai, nanti akan diserah kepada mampu. Ya, betul Datuk Rozi, ya. So mampu nak kena uruskan dengan baik ni, insya-Allah. Ya, jadi tuan-tuan puan-puan, satu lagi perkara yang saya rasa agak penting, dan isu ini adalah perkara yang melibatkan kecerdasan buatan, artificial intelligence. Kita hari ini berdepan dengan satu keadaan di mana banyak maklumat bukan hanya dapat dihasilkan di hujung jari, ya, tapi kadang-kala yang menghasilkan itu bukan lagi manusia. Kita boleh hari ini dalam media sosial mendengar lagu-lagu daripada Frank Sinatra menyanyikan lagu P. Ramlee, tapi suara Frank Sinatra. Kita boleh hari ini mendapat gambar-gambar, image-image yang serupa fotograf, tapi sebenarnya adalah hasil AI. Kita berdepan dengan pelbagai cabaran keselamatan yang mungkin serangannya dibuat oleh AI. Tapi kita tak perlu terlalu risau kerana kita juga boleh melihat kepada AI untuk membantu kita. Ramai yang berkata kalau ada AI maka banyak daripada kerja kita kita tak payah buat dah. Tak betul. Ya, dalam beberapa wacana saya telah melihat bagaimana AI sebenarnya boleh menyediakan asas. AI can help produce, say for example, 60% of the report. It can't give you the best. It takes a human to intervene to take the report from good to excellent. Jadi saya tak pasti kalau dalam PTD setakat ini belum ada apa-apa arahan boleh ataupun tak boleh guna AI. Ya, tapi mungkin nanti saya kena ada sedikit perbincangan. AI di bawah jagaan MOSTI. Ya, tapi kita lihat AI ini mungkin sangat bermanfaat kalau kita faham dan fasih menggunakannya. Di beberapa negara seperti Emirat Arab Bersatu, UAE, agensi seumpama MCMC, di sana dikenali sebagai Tadbiran, telah menghasilkan AI-nya sendiri. Dan AI ini membantu untuk menjawab soalan-soalan mengenai contoh visa. Contoh mengenai kelayakan untuk menjadi warga negara di UAE. maka saya ada berbincang sebelum kita dalam kementerian buat keputusan untuk serahkan, we were supposed to build a super app, tapi kita telah serahkan, I think we gave it to Mampu. I don't know, we gave it to Mostly. Masih lagi. Jadi, tapi the idea is, what if we had a super app which was just a prompt? So this is one of the things. Imagine, with a prompt, dengan satu soalan saja, kita boleh tanya, apa kelayakan saya untuk mendapat bantuan daripada JKM? It lists it out. Bagaimana saya nak mendaftar untuk mendapat bantuan Baitul Mal? Like a chat GPT. Jadi saya lihat sebenarnya ada manfaat untuk kita, kalau kita tidak terlalu risau ataupun tidak terlalu takut, tapi berwaspada, berhati-hati dalam mengintegrasikan beberapa teknologi baru ini dalam idea untuk memberi khidmat kepada rakyat. Jadi tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, ada sejumlah perkara yang telah saya sebutkan. Cuma saya di mungkin bahagian akhir keynote ini ingin bertanya, berapa ramai di sini menggunakan, ada menempah, melanggan perkhidmatan 5G? Who here is using 5G? Not very many. Oh, ada. Datuk Frida ada guna, ya? Ada, ya? Ajar ada guna. Baik. Kita sebenarnya sekarang telah melaksanakan rangkaian 5G sehingga 73% di seluruh negara. So we have reached 73% coverage of populated areas for 5G. Last Friday, alhamdulillah, we managed to get all of the MNOs to sign a share subscription agreement where all of them now are in Digital National Berhad. This is something which several ministers before me have tried to do, but were not entirely able to convince the mobile network operators to do. But this is important, an important milestone, because among other things, it shows that as far as the government is concerned, we have reached a strategic milestone that we are almost at 80% coverage of populated areas for 5G. We have gotten the inclusion of all of the mobile network operators, all of the telcos, and that after this, inshallah, the government will not have, implikasi keuangan. Dalam saya berkhidmat setahun ini, saya esok sebenarnya adalah genap setahun saya berkhidmat di Kementerian Komunikasi dan Digital. Ya, jadi the first day of the working year, the first working day daripada tarikh akad sumpah is tomorrow. Dan dalam tempoh setahun ni, antara benda yang saya paling risau adalah implikasi keuangan. Saya selalu bercakap dengan pegawai-pengawal, ni if we were to do it this way, then how? If we were to do it this way, then what's the cost? If we were to proceed with this, if we were to cancel that. Ya. Dan alhamdulillah, saya dah ada 2 KSU, ya, dan kedua-dua KSU saya banyak membantu. I don't know what would have been the case if I were to have had a KSU who was like my mom, ya. Dengan menteri pun dilanggar. Mungkin that's one of the reasons why she didn't become a KSU. But anyway, tapi at the end of the day, yang saya nak sampaikan ialah kita hari ini berdepan dengan pelbagai cabaran. Tapi saya harap rakan-rakan dalam PTD ataupun alumni PTD sentiasa sampaikan pandangan, walaupun pandangan itu mungkin boleh dianggap sebagai pandangan yang perit. Perdana Menteri dan juga Jemaah Menteri sangat terbuka untuk menerima pandangan. Ya, dan kita ada pelbagai saluran. Boleh berhubung dengan kami secara terus ataupun dalam forum tanpa kehadiran media, termasuk Astro AWANI dan juga TVS, ya, dan kawan-kawan yang lain bernama, boleh sampaikan. Kerana teguran itu penting. Dalam perhimpunan bulanan pertama saya ada sebut ada 2 perkara. Pertama, saya first time jadi menteri. Jadi bukan macam Tok Pa berkali-kali jadi menteri dan sangat fasih, and someone that I very much admire and look up to. Very stable pair of hands. Yeah. Dan I am prone to making mistakes. Yeah. So I always welcome in the ministry and in KKD advice, admonishment, but to do it in a way which is conducive or productive or positive. I remember the first week of my being in the ministry, there's a special lift for the minister. And I said, why is there a special lift? Tak boleh YB, memang dah ada. Tak nak. Tak boleh YB, dah ada. Tak nak. Tak boleh YB, dah ada. Alamak. Okeylah. Kalau saya ada dekat sini, kalau saya datang, siapa-siapa yang ada kat bawah ni naik sekali dengan saya. So I use that as an opportunity to get, if I arrive, anyone who's in the lobby with me, kau naik. Yeah. Sometimes they're very shy, sometimes they don't want. But when they do, I ask them in the 10-15 seconds, the equivalent of an elevator pitch, tell me, what do you want me to know? That since no one else is here, you tell me now. Yeah. Itu penting. Yeah. Sebab bagi saya sebenarnya kalau bukan tuan-tuan puan-puan, kalau bukan para penjawat awam yang memberitahu isu yang dihadapi, kerumitan, kegusaran, kesukaran, siapa lagi? Ya. Jadi itulah sebabnya saya berpandangan kita mesti ada multi-channel form of communication. Ada di kalangan kita akan tulis di luar. Ada kalangan kita yang akan maklumkan melalui WhatsApp. Ada yang akan hantar signal yang cara yang berbeza. Tapi saya harap selepas ni Tan Sri, mungkin from time to time we can organize maybe a teh tarik session, teh tarik session, and then jemput beberapa orang kawan, sampaikan pandangan, kalau boleh at least fortnightly. Yeah. Not with the same people. Can be different groups of people. Tak apa, rambut saya putih. Ada setengah orang kata macam George Clooney, tapi ni saya alhamdulillah Richard Gere. Okay, different generation kan. Tapi bagi saya itu sangat penting. Dan sampaikan pandangan. So insya-Allah tahun pertama kita dah kukuhkan dari segi kestabilan politik, dan insya-Allah message yang disampaikan oleh Duli Yang Maha Mulia Seri Paduka Baginda Yang Tuan Agong dan juga Raja-Raja Melayu ialah that stability is very important. Jadi ke depan we have a lot of work to do, and we hope that you will be part of this work, insya-Allah. Ya. Dan akhirul kalam, saya harap tuan-tuan puan-puan semua akan memanfaatkan teknologi maklumat yang ada, tapi hati-hati, tak pasti jangan kongsi, semak sebelum sebar, pilih satu antara dua, potong gula atau potong kaki. Ni satu arahan daripada Perdana Menteri ialah semua majlis-majlis kita kena kurangkan gula. Because the rise in non-communicable diseases is very worrying. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. Ya, dan insya-Allah kita jumpa nanti. Sekian, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat, for that very refreshing take on the public's delivery systems, and hopefully all of us can take the wisdom from the key messages in improving our daily work processes. On that note, we will now open a Q&A session. Therefore, kindly proceed to the microphone situated in the hall, introduce yourself and your organization before launching your burning questions for Yang Berhormat.
Salam sejahtera Yang Berhormat Menteri. Saya berasal pada sektor swasta, tapi saya memang bergaul di kalangan sektor awam. Cuma satu soalan saja pagi ini. For the last 15-20 years, I think there has been significant improvement in the counter services yang tak payah saya terangkan dengan jelas. Tapi hari ini dari sektor swasta ada satu kebimbangan. Kebimbangan itu tertumpu pada urusan di antara sektor swasta dengan sektor awam. Maknanya, kalau sektor awam ada urusan berkaitan dengan kegiatan perniagaan, kadang-kadang di sektor awam dia bukan maknanya berfungsi sebagai pegawai sektor awam. Dia berkontrak dengan sektor awam. Jadi dalam keadaan itu, kerap kali berlaku masalah meeting tak ada nota ataupun tak ada minit. Kemudian pertanyaan tak berjawab tepat pada masa. Dan lain-lain lagi tak payah saya terangkan dengan terperinci. Soalan saya, kita memasuki tahun kedua, misalnya dalam pentadbiran sekarang ini. Dan dalam 2-3 tahun yang akan datang, kita kena merancangkan ekonomi. Bagaimana sektor awam pada pendapat yang berhormat dapat membantu sektor swasta supaya kita mempercepatkan proses demi pertumbuhan ekonomi dan demi memulihkan ekonomi negara. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Dato'. I think mungkin, shall I answer this first? Ataupun there's another question? Maybe I'll answer this first, ya. Yeah? Jadi, yes. We'll take maybe 2-3 questions and then we'll go.
Thank you. I would like to echo what David just mentioned just now. I think it's true, you know, in the private sector now, there seems to be a delay in so many things. And now we talk about emails and so on and so forth, yeah. Kita tulis surat, berminggu-minggu, berhari-hari, berminggu-minggu, ada yang berbulan tak dijawab. Even acknowledgement pun cukup lah. Macam kita ni dah orang lama kan. Orang lama kita kenal ramai orang. Ramai orang pun kenal kita orang lama. But I worry, anak-anak kita yang buat bisnes, berniaga nanti, dia tak kenal siapa-siapa. So surely we cannot do business based on siapa kita kenal. Siapa kenal kita. It should be very professional, you know. Dan saya pun berfikir, adakah kerajaan sekarang ni tidak mendapat sokongan daripada civil servants? I think civil servants must understand they must serve the government of the day and just do their work professionally, you know. Or is it because they're serving the political masters all the time, they've forgotten us? But the ultimate goal, the political masters one side, the civil service one side, but at the top here are all of us. And business is the very engine that drives the economy. So it's not enough, I think, you know. We have a beautiful highway, but then you can't drive your car on that highway because things are so slow. So I think we really need the civil servants to really get together and do this, because people might think, oh, is it because they don't support the government? Or is it because they're just incompetent? That's it. Surat pun tak jawab. Macam mana ni? Thank you.
Oh panas ni. Baik. Baik. Saya tak, mungkin saya tak berpegang kepada pandangan exactly macam tu. Pengalaman saya sendiri, kadang-kadang sebagai ahli parlimen dan juga selepas tu penggal kedua ni sebagai menteri, memang kadang-kadang mencabar, terutama bagi Menteri Komunikasi untuk berkomunikasi sepanjang masa. Kadang-kadang orang hantar WhatsApp mengharapkan jawapan, tapi dalam sehari saya punya 100 messages 2,000. Jadi orang hantar email, ya, walaupun saya ada staff yang juga bantu, tapi kadang-kadang mereka terlepas pandang. Dan saya lihat sebenarnya mungkin kita kena manfaatkan, we have to find efficiencies. How do we make certain processes more efficient? It's a puzzle. I'm an engineer. I'm a chemical engineer, so I'm very interested in puzzles, and I like to try and see how we can solve them. I have to acknowledge that perhaps my pace is slightly more fast than what some of my colleagues in the ministry may feel. I remember in the first week of being in office, there was one day my SUSK and I and my team, we sat down at 5 o'clock in the evening and then opened a bag of peanuts and then said, I looked to my SUSK, awak dah makan ke? Belum. Oh, YB belum makan ke? Belum. Oh gosh, we forgot to have lunch that day. And we do sometimes get messages from within the ministry say, YB ni pace dia cepat sikit. Ya, tapi what I try to do is, I think it's also about some amount of change management. It's also about some amount of managing expectations, being with the so-called troops in the rank and file to boost morale, to make sure that the team understands that we're working together. It's not us and them, and to persuade. Yeah, it's not easy. I have to say. I have to share. Yeah, I do sometimes dengar sikit lah. Dia kata mungkin menteri ni cepat sikit lah kan. Ya, menteri yang usianya muda kan. Jadi, tapi I try to engage a little bit more. Saya tak boleh cakap bagi keseluruhan perkhidmatan awam sebab saya bukan KPPA. Datuk Seri Zul, ya, saya bukan KPPA. Tapi pengalaman saya dalam kementerian untuk KKD, saya lihat satu pertanyaan yang saya ada, yang saya ajukan kepada diri saya dan juga pasukan saya ialah kita dalam bidang IT dan juga kita bercakap tentang 5G, kita bercakap tentang big data, cloud computing. What is it that we can do as a start in my own office to use a lot of these available facilities to enhance and to respond faster? Yeah? So that's one. So far everything is still quite manual. Yeah? So we get the emails, we get the letters, yeah, but things are still manual. So it's a challenge even within my office. Yeah? So at the same time, we also know the Prime Minister has said that we have to make business easier. We encourage and invite a lot of foreign direct investment, but domestic direct investment is also very important. So suffice it to say, I don't have a panacea. I don't have a cure-all for your question, for this problem, but I acknowledge that it is a malaise. It's something that we have to slowly coax and cajole untuk anjakkan bit by bit. So perhaps the change begins with us. Perhaps the change begins with PTD or alumni PTD, convincing PTD, yeah, that we must be that change. Tak kiralah siapa jadi menteri, tak kiralah siapa Perdana Menteri, yang bayar gaji kita rakyat. Ya. Jadi kita berkhidmat untuk rakyat. Itulah yang saya pegang sebagai credo, sebagai moto saya, kan? Juga. Jadi itulah sebab kenapa saya bersama pada hari ini, kerana saya rasa ada keperluan. Kita tak lihat ada satu jurang ataupun perbezaan. We have to tackle this together. We have to work on this problem together. Baik.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang berhormat Menteri, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Halim dan rakan-rakan semua. Nama saya Ishak. Saya ini nak kata pelajar daripada INTAN, pernah mengajar juga di INTAN dan bersama dengan ibunda di JPA. Saya rasa sikit nak kongsi masa-masa kita belajar INTAN dulu, dia kata lebih kurang factors of production tu ada lebih kurang 4 atau 5. Satu, dia kata sistem ni, teknologi dia, ada capital, ada human resource yang penting-penting. Saya nak kaitkan perkara human resource dalam sektor awam dengan topik hari ini. Kita nak deliver dengan cara yang baik, efisien dan efektif. Tapi kalau Rabi, katalah human resource kita ni dah banyak yang cacat, cela, cemar. Saya ada menulis satu artikel dalam perspektif keluaran Yayasan Alumni Mei 23. Saya sedikit kongsi idea saya. Saya lihat perkhidmatan awam di Malaysia telah terjerabak dengan wabak-wabak rasuah. Dan saya lihat di Malaysia ini, corruption berlaku apabila saya panggil systemic corruption. Apabila golongan politik, businessman, perkhidmatan awam, pelaksana, agensi pelaksana bersekongkol dalam melaksanakan tanggungjawab mereka, tapi menyeleweng. Mungkin atas kepentingan diri atau kepentingan mereka dalam golongan. Dulu kita tahu kalau corruption ni di kampung-kampung, ujung bulan ada yang tunggu tepi jalan, cari orang tak ada lesen, tangkap. Dapat 5 kupang pun jadi. Lepas itu naik ke individu, naik ke sindiket. Ini dulu kita heboh dengan GPJ. Kalau nak dapat lesen, ya Allah, ini susah. Okay. Sekarang ni, lagi tu sistemik. Jadi, Wabi, saya nak pendekkan soalan saya. Bagaimana kita nak meneruskan usaha-usaha ini jika kita, perkhidmatan awam kita, yang terlibat secara berkongkol di semua strata? Macam mana kita nak meneruskan usaha kita? Terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Ini soalan yang berat, jadi KJ tunggu sekejap ya. Mr. KJ John sekejap ya. Saya jawab ni dulu. Ini soalan yang berat dan saya I think I'm dalam pentadbiran ni, at least Perdana Menteri kata dia berkali-kali dia ingat dan ditegur menteri-menteri supaya jangan terjebak. Saya pernah ditanya oleh seorang kawan menteri, saya dah ceritakan perkara ni beberapa kali secara terbuka. Dia kata, Fahmi, you're a minister now. Can you please wear a minister type watch? Huh? What do you mean? So, I wear a Casio. Can you please wear like jam macam ni ke, jam macam ni ke? Then I said, no, what's wrong with wearing a Casio? Kan? They said, no, the Casio reminds me of one, asal usul saya, where I come from. And secondly, this is a digital watch. It's the original digital watch. Menteri Digital kenalah support, kan? Jadi, saya kata macam tu. Secondly, there was an interesting anecdote. I think Tok Pa pun pernah surely lalui perkara ni. Saya dalam Kementerian Komunikasi dan Digital, antara yang paling penting tu adalah MCMC. Sebab dia memberi lesen untuk pelbagai urusan. Dan yang memegang kunci untuk memberi lesen ni biasanya dialah yang kalau dia salah, maka rosaklah. Kalau dia betul, maka mudahlah. Jadi satu hari saya ke Parlimen, tiba-tiba ada seorang kawan lama ni, daripada Parti UMNO. Kata, YB, terima kasihlah YB. YB sign lesen untuk anak saya. Oh, iya ke? Oh, saya tak tahu pun tu anak siapa. Terima kasihlah sebab sebelum ni bila saya nak minta lesen ni, saya kena oh, iya ke? In my mind, Allah bodohnya aku. No, but then my heuristic, my decision making process was when the application for licenses come to my table, I will get a team to do an audit. Is that company betul-betul what they say they are? Are they really competent or not? diorang ni boleh buat kerja ke tak? What is the latar belakang? Kan? So kalau okey. Kalau tak. Kan? So saya tak pilih bulu, saya tak minta apa-apa, and I've made it very clear and very known. In the first perhimpunan bulanan in the ministry, I said it very openly to the team. Saya kata, pertama, kalau saya silap, tegur saya. Kedua, saya tahu, saya sedar, saya tak akan jadi menteri selama-lamanya. Akhirat nanti Allah akan tanya, Fahmi, waktu kamu jadi menteri, apa kamu buat? So I work with that clearly in my mind every day. And I know, kalau saya silap, kalau saya gagal nak laksanakan 5G, orang yang perlukan internet tak dapat, dosa itu pada saya. Kan? So ajaran didikan agama itu penting, tapi bukan didikan agama yang ekstrim. Yeah? And this is something which is very worrying. Now, dia macam, the options are, kononnya langsung tak ada agama, ataupun dia ekstrim. I don't take that position. I was raised in a family. My late grandmother was kaum ibu in UMNO. Very strong, very pious, taught me baca Quran. But sent all of her girls, all of her daughters to Asunta, a missionary school. Ada salib, nyanyi Lord's Prayer, baca Lord's Prayer in the morning. Tak ada masalah pun tengok mak saya, bertudung, berhijab. Kan? Tak ada masalah pun, nak menakut-nakutkan tu buat apa? Kan? So I come from that kind of family lah. Tapi yang saya nak tegaskan, the fish rots from the head. Kalau baik di atas, maka insya-Allah akan mulalah baik. Tapi perlu ada ketegasan. Kalau ada keterlanjuran, mesti dikenakan tindakan. Tapi masa yang sama kita nak kena faham, antara sebab mungkin economic pressure. Saya pun faham. Salah satu daripada institusi paling penting yang berada dalam kawasan parlimen saya ialah Bukit Aman. Ya. IGP saya jaga. Timbalan IGP saya jaga. Mantan-mantan IGP saya jaga. Semua saya jaga. Dan saya pun faham, kadang-kadang orang tohmah macam-macam. Tapi dalam perkhidmatan, dalam pasukan polis, there are a lot of stand up, and upstanding and very clean officers. Cuma nila setitik. Jadi saya rasa, bagi saya, kita mesti ada contoh yang baik, teladan yang baik, dan kita kena amplify teladan ini. Masa yang sama, teguran kena dibuat, dan kalau perlu tindakan diambil. Dan saya percaya memang kita kena, dia terlibatlah ya, kerenah birokrasi. Sometimes to expedite things you have to, that idea that you need to know someone, pay someone, call someone, ya. Tapi at least for me, under my watch, I make it very clear. I want nothing from anyone. I don't want any businessman who comes to me. I don't want anything from you. I have no shares. Saya cuma ada sikit dalam koperasi pemperlalan Felda dulu. That's it. I have no shares in anything. Yeah. And I don't. Being in this position is not about winning riches. It's about serving. Riches is about serving. Tapi sama ada semua tengok macam tu ataupun tak. Wallahu alam. So the best that I can say is, apa yang salah depan kita, kita cuba betulkan. Ya? Dan kita set the right example, the right precedents to make sure that we never slip down that slippery slope. Dan so one of the things that I did in the ministry was, I invited SPRM datang, and then investigate my officers, investigate me, investigate my office, investigate the top tier. Yeah. So far, okay, alhamdulillah, tak ada issue. Then it's about making clear, making that known. So we signed a pledge, an integrity pledge. Yeah. So among other things. Tapi this is not tokenism. Yeah. You have to be true. So I know I can account for anything that I have. Yeah. I live with my in-laws. Yeah. My house is just, I don't really have a house. My mom kind of has a house, kind of. right? But that's that. So, yes.
With your permission, I'd just like to check with the Secretariat how much time do we have so that Your Hormat Dato', Your Hormat Menteri, we have sufficient time to meet the press.
Okay.
And also,
if according to the schedule, the time is up, but I think because the gentleman there has been waiting to ask his question, so maybe one last one.
Mungkin lagi dua soalan.
Yes.
Boleh.
Thank you. Thank you, Dato'. My question is putting a context to which is related to all the three former speakers who asked questions. I remember when we were in NIMOS, we injected into the MyCard the digital memory, and I had to work with Dato' Azizan, who is here. I want to recognize him. He was a DG of registration then. But he was constantly complaining at that point in time. This is almost 20 years ago, okay? He was complaining that it's difficult to get the departments under his Home Affairs Ministry, you know, they have different varying functionalities, to work together. Nevertheless, we did it. We put the MyCard in, first the 32-bit and then the 64-bit. But suddenly, after the change of government or change of policies and politics, which is more like politics than policy, what happened is, suddenly the MyCard and the infrastructure and the substructure and the third layer structure that we put into the system became irrelevant. The whole project went to somebody else. And MyCard died. I'm still hurting because MyCard died. Because after MyCard came MyKit, which Azizan, in his anticipation, moved forward. But we destroyed all that and gave the contract to I don't know who, for what, and why. So my challenge to you, sir, as a cabinet minister and to your whole cabinet is, let's also take a little bit of time to understand the history of certain projects like digital ID. There's a history. It didn't happen accidentally. We started MDEC, and we could have been way ahead of Dubai. Now we're playing catch-up. We shouldn't have been playing catch-up. So my only advice is we need to look beyond the impressions to look at the substructures and work into structural collaboration, which is, I think, what Isha was addressing. Structural deficiencies are being embedded. And it may be a purchasing policy decision or whatever, but we can address it. And even as you move fast forwards to digitalization, look at middle structure integration issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 1, 2.
YB, I'm Dr. Mohammed Zali, and currently the new Secretary General of the World Zakat and Waqaf Conference of the World. My question for the answer in front of you. You see, our topic here, making it more efficient and effective. We talk about digital technology. It is not a mindset of an observing transactional process of government. It is an adversary of the future. Unless you have that mindset, and therefore this government and this country say they want to be great, therefore the mindset must change to be anniversary. One step ahead, all the time ahead. Unless we have that greatness, we will always be a follower. So your system or any system cannot become a local public policy. All the interventions coming from WHO or WEF are all global public policy imposed on the rest of the world. How do you manage that? First. Second point, we are very much seniors in this government. Therefore, we have to ask how much synergy or alliances are being created among government departments which we enjoyed before. With due respect, I have done a random survey. I can send to you what I did last night. One of the major problems in government today, there is a silo orientation, no collaborative platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Maybe I take the third question and then I'll answer and then we'll cap. Yeah.
Okay. Hello. Very good morning YB. Saya Mikolin daripada PTD dari Pejabat Setiausaha Persekutuan Sabah. So saya di sini bertanya dalam perspektif sebab kita moving forward to 5G, but we in Sabah actually kita masih lagi berdepani isu seperti what we have like electrical issues, masih memerlukan catuan dan segalanya. So looking forward into 5G systems actually, what do you think about the way forward for 5G in Sabah? Because as well as in Sabah, we need to see perspective in different way. Because we cannot simply compare apple to apple, but then in Sabah, we still have rural areas which actually dorang masih belum lagi merasa internet seperti yang dirasakan di sini. So my question is only for the way forward and also point of view regarding to 5G in Borneo. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, jadi saya tak boleh jawab soalan tentang yang melibatkan bidang kuasa ataupun dalam I can't really cross lanes there. One of the reasons why is I don't have the full history of and I'm not in KDN, so I can't answer on behalf of the minister in this regard. But I appreciate that, and I understand and acknowledge that there is a history. I do feel that actually it's not just my card and things like MDEC, things like a couple of other, a lot of our laws as well. We were the first, for example, to have in place a Personal Data Protection Act in the region. But it's been 13 years and so much has changed, and we're still, kiranya macam still in 2010, yeah, with regards to data protection. So I agree that essentially, to merge with the second question, it is a mindset, it is a education, it is an awareness, it is like a lifestyle choice juga, yeah, to be constantly and forever connected, and yet not have any synergy or silos. This is actually a worrying trend, spurred on by social media, what we call silo effect and echo chamber. Tunnel effect, your blinkered view of your interest, your passion, the things that concern you, and you're only focused on that. So this is it's a cultural problem as well. I don't mean culture as in budaya Melayu, Cina, India, bukan. Tapi it's a culture, yeah. It's actually a budaya problem lah in that sense. So we need to have certain things in place. Perhaps INTAN can play a role. But I would probably need to have some engagement to see what we can do to make sure that the incoming batches of PTD, who will likely be part of Gen Z, will have a completely different worldview, completely different mindset. They will use different terms, yeah, from what we are using, and they will be completely digital native, whereas many of us are either digital migrants or still analog. Yeah, so it's different worlds, yeah. So we're kind of in between these worlds. But with regards to synergy and alliances, I think this is a very important question. I think it might be either thematic or, depending on the subject, as far as certain matters involving, say, KKD, from my own experience, a lot of it is turf war. Ini bidang aku. Kau tahu apa? Kind of a thing lah. You know, this is my area of expertise. This is my, and so then it becomes quite protectionist. I don't think we necessarily need to be so defensive about our respective areas. I'll give you the clearest example: digital economy. There are at least 5 different ministries that work on this issue of digital economy. So you've got, of course, KKD, you've got MITI, you've got economy, Kementerian Economy, you've got MOSTI, and of course, you can't, discuss it without talking about digital talent pipeline, which involves KSM. But how much do the ministries really talk to each other, or the SUBs, or the working level? Sometimes I think the meetings only take place when there's a perceived policy confrontation. I'll give a very clear recent past example. Datuk Rozi tahu dalam isu cyber security contoh, kan. So at one point when Datuk Rozi was in NSC, was in MKN, there was a question of Naksa and cyber security Malaysia. So at one point there was a discussion about bringing in CSM into Naksa and then putting together an ACTA. Yeah, so CSM will be completely subsumed by Naksa and then it will become like an MCMC type. But then our argument was, if you have in energy, you have Suruhanjaya Tenaga and you have TNB. Kalau telecoms, you have MCMC and then you have Telekom Malaysia. For waste, you have SW Corp, you have Alam Flora. So the regulator and the technical agency ataupun pelaksana are separate. So that was the argument. Of course, at times very tense. Yeah, that's my first experience. Yeah, tapi I think when we talk about synergy and alliances, sometimes it's also about understanding to certain things. Yeah? I don't mean money ataupun apa. Sometimes it's just, a sense of pride or intangible. Yeah? But if we understand that by working together more closely, we can gain so much more. This is where pengkalan data utama, PADU, and the Omnibus Data Protection Act will help to break down the silos, put together all of the data, disaggregated data, so that certain initiatives can be much more efficiently planned out. So these are some of the things that we're trying to work on. Boleh lah, at the data level, we can try to have that. Tapi at the working level, I think at the PTD is about, maybe we need to have more teh tarik together. Teh tarik kurang manis. On Sabah and Sarawak, I agree. Bila saya tengok sekarang, saya faham, in the early days, in the first few months, there was a Sabah assemblyman came to see me, mengadu, YB, saya difahamkan untuk bina menara dekat kawasan saya, kosnya adalah sekian. Tapi bila saya bercakap dengan kontraktor, dia cuma dapat sekian. So this is an issue. So under the Chief Minister, Datuk Sri Haji G, one of the key state-owned companies, Common Tower, CTT, has been restructured, and the performance so far as say Jendela Phase 1 is concerned is admirable, given that it has for some time not been working out so well. So it's about paying closer attention. Sometimes you are prone to working on autopilot, jalan lah, and then you just get the report. Ni pengalaman saya rasa semua sini pernah ada pengalaman, dan mungkin Tok Pa pun ada pengalaman ni. Bila menteri kata nak datang lawat, kan. Saya pernah sekali dekat Sarawak nak pergi, dia ada satu kawasan ni namanya Pantai Damai, Don Pantai Damai. Yeah? And it's the furthest, is one corner of Sarawak. And there's they call it naked tower. Menara tak ada kuali. The menara is there, but there's no telco. So I made the mistake of saying, I want to visit this place tomorrow. And then MCMC Sarawak told me, YB, ni dah pukul 12 tengah malam, diorang dah pasang dah YB. Dah ada elektrik, dah ada 4 telco kat situ. Yeah. So the next day when I went, betul-betul, dah ada semua dah sampai. Takkan I have to visit all 600 menara dekat Sarawak. So what I do now is that when I go, I say, saya ada kemungkinan nak lawat 20 menara ni. Yeah. So sometimes you have to be a bit cheeky. Yeah. So a bit creative to get the ball rolling. Tapi Alhamdulillah, I have to say, actually, sometimes I just feel that we could do so much more and achieve much more when we just sit down and talk. And the biggest example is Sarawak. When I first came in, we had this problem which has been there for a while. SDEC and Sarawak Multimedia Authority did a project of 1 billion ringgit setting up 600 towers, but the telcos did not want to come in. So I asked, when was the last time you had a conversation? Oh, no, we've not had a meeting. Oh. So when I was there, I said, okay, call all of the telcos here. So we sat down at that Starbucks and said, hey, after this you must... So in the last session of Parliament, we finally reached an agreement where MCMC and MOF will help to pay for some, the telcos will pay for the rest, and all 600 towers will now have the qualis. Yeah? So sometimes it's just about reaching out, trying to understand, yeah? And at times, you know, finding a middle ground. Kita sekarang berada dalam satu keadaan di mana it's us and them. Yeah? I think this is very dangerous. This is what happened in some of the other countries. Yeah? And I think in Malaysia, we're a very moderate nation. Kita ni orang sederhana. It's embedded in our rukun negara. Yeah? Sebuah negara yang progresif, yang moderate. Yeah? It's about sitting down, pausing for a while, listening to each other, and thinking well of each other, but also recognizing that we have to catch up for lost time. So I wish all of you well. Take time for the rest of the day to listen to our other presenters. And inshallah, if we work together, we can move the needle and bring Malaysia forward, inshallah. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat, for addressing the questions, and thank you for all who have actively participated in the Q&A session. As a token of appreciation and a small prize to Yang Berhormat who bravely faced and survived the firing squad, I now invite Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Abdul Halim Ali, President of PTD Alumni Association, to present his token. Fahmi Fadzil.